Hello there, thank you so much for watching TV47 and staying with the Daily Report right here on your home of untold stories. Time now for that important conversation with my guest today, who is none other than Honorable Gathoni Wamuchomba, the Member of Parliament for Githunguri constituency here in Kiambu County. Welcome to the program, Mashma.
Thank you, Maringa. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
How is TV47?
It is great.
You know TV47 has some roots in Githunguri, so I'm very proud.
Is that so?
Oh, yeah.
Asante sana.
Yes, so I'm happy to see you grow. And I'm ready to support you
Brilliant.
as a leader.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
After weeks of trying to get you on the show.
Oh, of course. My apologies. You know, when you reached out to me for this interview,
Yes.
I was very busy in my constituency because, you know, it's a new year.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of educational demands, people looking for, you know, from one places, looking for bursaries. And therefore, lazima ningeenda mashinani kujipanga kidogo.
Yeah.
So my apologies.
Not a problem.
Yes.
And I wonder, how has your recess been?
Recess has been very stressful, already stressful. Yeah, because, you know, a recess without finance, without resources is very difficult. Because when you're in the villages, people expect you to, you know, propel projects, empower their lives and, you know, support their education programs and such like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been very difficult. There's no money from the national government.
Does that bother you?
Yes, of course it does. Because it means that we are not able to deliver as promised.
Okay.
Yeah, there are those projects that every leader had planned and promised. And most of them are not now, you know, moving in the right direction.
Brilliant. So you're, of course, representing Githunguri constituency, which is in Kiambu County. There has been a lot of hue and cry about this county. We've seen meetings that are taking place, some that you seem not to even be partaking or taking part in. What's happening in this county of Kiambu?
I'm glad that even you, when you are not part of this county, you can see this obviously a problem in Kiambu. And our problem is not internal, it is external. In my own opinion, there are some forces that are working towards scattering Kiambu, stirring Kiambu into political fights, and interfering with Kiambu's development program. And the problem we have is called a political class problem. There are people who are politically feeling like they need to take charge of Kiambu, and obviously interfering with the current leadership as mandated by the people of Kiambu. I'm sure you've seen some meetings that have been happening outside Kiambu, allegedly for Kiambu. So we've seen some leaders selectively picked for some meetings to discuss Kiambu. And obviously those meetings are not geared to uniting us, are geared to scattering us. So when I'm not invited for such a meeting, when my governor is not invited for such a meeting, when another member of parliament is not invited for such a meeting, what do you expect? Oh,
it's not that you skipped, you were
No, I'm never invited. I'm never informed. I just see as you see. Like the previous meeting that was done last week.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was this week.
This week, yeah, just a few days ago.
I saw it on social media. Yeah. My governor also saw it on social media because I asked him yesterday, I was with him in my constituency. And he told me he also saw it in social media. And we've been even seeing outright contempt of Kiambu leadership. You know, when our majority leader, who is supposed to be the uniting factor in Kiambu, stands up on top of his roof of the car and speaks very arrogantly about other leaders. You know, disregarding my governor, disregarding me as a woman leader, disregarding MCAs and the majority leader of the county assembly, it's 100% contentious. I mean, it is so difficult for us to work together when that person we supported to be our leader is actually the source of conflict. Castigating everybody and branding everybody and arrogantly dealing with people like they're not leaders. So I actually, personally, I am regretting why we have a majority leader of the National Assembly of Kenya from Kiambu. Because instead of that majority leader making us proud as the county that has a majority leader of the Kenyan government, Kenyan parliament, we are actually suffering because of him.
What are the suffer? I mean, where is the suffering?
We are suffering because my governor is constantly the punching bag. I am not fighting for my governor. I know my governor has weaknesses like I do. But there comes a time when leaders realize we have a problem here. We decide to provide leadership into that problem so that we can assist that person to overcome his weaknesses for progressiveness of our county. We understand our governor has his own political style of leadership. And we all cannot behave the same. The way I lead is not the way the other person leads. So if you feel like his style is not going well with what you expect, I think the best thing for us as leaders is to look for the governor, look for the leadership of the county. For example, we have clergies, we have wazee wa mtaa, we have men of wisdom, people emeritus, bishops, emeritus governors of various counties, where we can bring these people together and talk peace. But unfortunately, there seems to be external forces that are also happy when Kiambu is fighting. And I know why Kiambu is fighting. It is because there are people who have special interest in Kiambu. The proximity of Kiambu County to Nairobi makes our land very, very, very valuable. And there are people who have been struggling to steal our land in the disguise of National Government Affordable Housing Program. And you cannot come and purport to be doing houses in Kiambu and you're not involving the governor. You cannot come and purport to be doing houses in my constituency and you're not involving me and my MCA. So we have that kind of a pause that because some people have proximity to the presidential power, proximity to the deputy presidential power, they can now use that opportunity to come and bulldoze others. And I think for me, nimefika pahali nimesema this is too much. And I think as a leader, and because I'm not a fresh leader, I've been in this county in the past. I know what we have done in the past, being started from where we are being started from now. And I think if we go that direction, Kiambu will never move. We chased out a governor last election. In the same ways, we got pressure from some quarters, we chased out a governor. Of course, he had his own weaknesses, like I'm saying. He had his own flaws. But I don't think we gained by chasing out a governor. Actually, we retrogressed. So much so. And I want to tell you why we retrogressed.
I'm curious about that.
Last election term, that is 2017 to 2022, Kiambu County was one of the counties that was identified to receive some support from donors. Support in construction of hospitals that were being fronted and spearheaded by Her Excellency Margaret Kenyatta. Okay. You remember the Beyond Zero campaign? Yes. She got some serious funding to come up with serious hospitals where safe maternity wards would be constructed. My constituency, Githunguri, was one of the recipients of that funding. And therefore, we started a Githunguri Level 5 hospital, fully funded by the donors. When we chased out the governor, the former governor, the donors withdrew the money. And the government of Kenya had to come in. We fought tirelessly here in this county until the governor who came after the one we chased out was not able to finish that hospital. His Excellency the President Uhuru Kenyatta had to appoint the military to come and finish that hospital. You can see how costly local politics can be. Fine, Uhuru sent the military, they did the hospital. Now the hospital is completed. Where is the equipment? Right now, we are supposed to unite all the leaders, go to the president, go to the Minister of Health, and pitch together to get equipment and have that hospital operationalized. What is happening? We are fighting. Nobody listens to the other. Nobody is talking the same language, and we end up losing. I'm not talking about Githunguri alone. I'm talking about so many other projects. For example, the former President Uhuru Kenyatta fought for us to get what we are calling the upgraded market and a stimulus program. We got market funding for Githurai Market, Ruiru Market, Juja Market, Mangu Market, Githunguri Market, Wangige Market, and all those markets were interfered with the same way when the governor exited. They got scattered, contractors were abandoned, they were never paid. To date, it's only Githurai Market and Ruiru Market is complete. Wangige Market is not complete. Why? Why?
Fighting.
Instead of us leaders sitting together, getting leadership from majority leader, strategizing together on where we are going to get money to finish project, the same majority leader is stirring us into fights. Majority leader is stirring even the county government MCAs into fights. And I am not ashamed of speaking about this because it is there in the public arena. You can imagine a scenario where the president come to Kiambu and a session of introducing leaders is taken over by one person. Well, the governor is seated there, the speaker is seated there, majority leader from the national government is the one who purports to be introducing MCAs. When the governor is seated there, when the speaker is seated there, and he assumes they are not there. I think we have a problem. And I can tell you, if we do not, as Kiambu leaders, think backwards and decide to shun external forces from interfering in Kiambu politics, we are going to end up losing development, and 2027 we will be staggered so that our votes are not in one basket.
I did speak to the majority leader last week. He was actually the previous guest, and he did speak of when there was an occasion that involved, I think, tea or coffee meeting, and there were leaders that had colluded to, heckle the president. And when the president did not come, of course, he castigated against them. And he said there are specific leaders who are causing rifts in Kiambu County. I bet, or I presume he was alluding to leaders from Kiambu County. What then would resolve this impasse between leaders in Kiambu County?
That is what I told you, that there are leaders who think that they are prefects of others. And every leader who has been elected by the people of Kenya should never be ignored. Majority leader Kimani Ichung'wah does not come from a region where there is coffee. He knows nothing about coffee. He doesn't have a single tree. He doesn't have a single tea bush. Personally, I come from a coffee and tea zone. I have been on the forefront, even in the National Assembly, in championing Matters Tea, Matters Coffee. I'm actually the caucus chair of caucus on tea and coffee in the National Assembly. I actually started the caucus myself. In my 20 years of media activities, I hammered tea, coffee issues every morning. I am a farmer. I own I own coffee farms. So when a majority leader comes and bulldozes on a meeting where he understands nothing, and because he understands nothing, the only thing he can do is to use proxies who are planted into such meetings to come and bring chaos, what do you expect out of that meeting? Are we together? And I am laughing when I hear majority leader says that there are people who are planning to heckle president. Then it means him as a majority leader, he's a failure. How can the president be heckled in majority leader's county? I think the majority leader should be the center of unity. He should actually be the example in the whole country that I am the majority leader of the National Assembly. I control over 270 MPs, and therefore 13 MPs cannot be a problem to him. Then it means President Ruto should think twice whether he has the right majority leader. We had another majority leader in the previous National Assemblies, like the Duale. When did you hear that the president is being heckled in Garissa? Have you ever heard? Every time the president visited Garissa, he went there as a hero. So President Ruto should think very seriously about his majority leader, because his majority leader is not building Ruto. He's actually degrading Ruto and eroding Ruto politically. What do you think the 60 plus MCAs of Kiambu are thinking about UDA government? When every day they are in constant fights that are planted by a majority leader who serves in the National Assembly. What do you think the governor feels and think when MCAs confess to him that we are being sponsored by so-and-so to scatter you? What do you think even the voters of Kiambu are thinking? Yesterday I was in the village.
Yes.
And I asked people, are you comfortable with this kind of mess? I have, for over 1 year, consolidated coffee farmers in my constituency. Consolidated means I have been at it, visiting their local factories, listening to their issues, solving small problems that they have. And then when we are just about to win, because yesterday we were winning, we have already won by reviving a dead coffee mill for Komodhai Coffee Society. A mill that shut down in 1986. It was revived yesterday, courtesy of Wamuchomba's effort, the farmers' effort, and the governor's effort. What do you think those farmers are thinking? What do you think they are saying? They are saying, we want people who are pro-maendeleo, not people who are coming to tell us, I am the majority leader, I am close to President Ruto, I go to State House anytime I want, because that is how our majority leader behaves when he comes to our villages. He should shed off his ego, realize that he's a servant of the people. And by the way, that position Kimani Ichung'wah is holding today of majority leader, he was given courtesy of the people of Kiambu. Do you know why?
Why?
Because we brought into Ruto's vote basket the highest percentage of votes in Kenya. We gave him over 600,000 votes. That is why Kimani Ichung'wah is the majority leader. That position is holding. He is holding brief for people of Githunguri. He should come humble to the people of Githunguri. He is holding brief to the people of Juja. When he goes to Juja, he must be humble. He is holding brief for the people of Gatondo North and Gatondo South. When he goes to Gatondo South, he has to go humble. Otherwise, President Ruto should be told, Kiambu is not happy. We are not happy with his majority leader. And I'm sure he knows.
Would you
because if surely his majority leader is popular, or he's powerful, or he's holding the right brief, President Ruto should not cancel a meeting where he's coming to Kiambu just because he has had a few farmers are heckling. His majority leader should be the person to go and sort the ground for the president.
Would you attend a truce meeting for Kiambu leaders?
I personally wrote a message to the majority leader Kimani Ichung'wah. And me, I don't lie, I speak the truth.
When?
And I told him about 2 weeks ago. And I told him, majority leader, you are our center of unity. You are the most senior person in this county politically. You cannot be in the center of attraction. And it is time for truce. Bring that phone, I can show you. It is time for truce. And I told him, call for truce, Kimani, with an exclamation. I did. And I can show you here.
It was a text message.
It was a text message. And he responded. And he gave me excuses why there are fights. He told me, oh, the governor doesn't do this, doesn't do this. And I said, come on. You cannot be telling me the reason why there are fights is because of the governor. You are the senior most politically elected leader nationally. You should walk in with Wamuchomba by your side, with Kengara by your side, with Kagombe of Gatondo South by your side, go to the governor's office and demand to speak to him, humbly realizing and recognizing and acknowledging that he's the governor of Kiambu.
So where did the conversation conclude at?
It concluded that Kimani Wamatangi, our governor, doesn't listen, but I've not seen any effort to attempt to speak to him because I've not been called for any meeting for truce. All I see is funny meetings being called in Karen, funny meetings being called somewhere in Nairobi, farmers from my county being withdrawn from the county to go and get a brief from Nairobi. And I always say, if really the meetings you're doing are good meetings and they mean good for the people of Kiambu, why can't you hold a meeting here in Kiambu? Why can't you call a meeting in Kiambu and make sure in that meeting all the leaders are there? Why are you calling people in Karen? It is because there's something you're planning that you didn't want the mass, the people who voted for you, as early as 3 a.m. to know what you're doing. So I want to tell the people of Kiambu, enough is enough. We are not going to sit pretty and watch people scatter us. We are not going to sit pretty and hear people plan for us. All we need and care is, we want what was delivered on the top of the cars when you're doing campaign. We were promised GMR on coffee. Where is it? We were promised GMR on tea. Where is it? We were promised that we are going to get our own feed factory for our livestock farmers. Where is it? We were promised that we are going to have jobs for our young people in Kiambu. Where are the jobs? We were promised that our stadiums are going to be completed. Are they done? We were promised that our hospitals that were started. I remember very well when President Ruto stood in Githunguri. He pointed Githunguri Hospital. And he said in 100 days, he's going to complete and equip Githunguri Level 5 Hospital. Is it done? We are not interested in who is majority leader close to State House, who works in State House when they want. That is not our business. The Wajiko of Kiambu is not interested. We are interested on what was promised and what is delivered. So for me, let me tell you, I'm not defending the governor.
Okay.
I've bashed the governor also many times. I'm in record. You can even go and check. I have bashed the governor for lack of medicine in Githunguri Hospital. I've bashed the governor for failure to install, lighting in our towns in Githunguri. I have bashed the governor for lying that he's feeding our ECD. Yet he picks one here, one there, and then he says he's feeding everybody. I've bashed the governor for bringing 10 kgs fertilizer to our farmers who have acreages of coffee, and you bring a 10 kg bag of fertilizer for somebody who has 5 acres, 3 acres, 2 acres of coffee. I have done that in the past. But that does not mean that we now finished with the governor and we dump him. Because like I told you, I witnessed Kiambu push out a governor, an duly elected governor. We pushed him out. Not because we loved him, but because he was a mess. But after him, did we recover? Did we even get what we wanted when we were pushing the first governor out? No. For me, we elected Wamatangi. We knew him when we elected him because he was not a newcomer in politics. He was there for 10 years as a senator. We knew what kind of a leader we were electing. And therefore, this is our baby to feed and win until we finish 2027. After 2027, the Wanjiko, the Kamau, the Jogona will decide. But we are not going to use the political class to deny Wanjiko services in the name of this is the wrong candidate. Mind you, I am on record. President Ruto can attest to this. I am one of those who went into his office before elections, and I told him I'm not comfortable with the Matangis as a governor. He told me, Gathoni, this is the party position. This is our party candidate. Please support him. And I told him, I'm not sure whether we are doing the right thing. He told me, this is our party candidate. So, how then do we sit in boardrooms without involving Wanjiko of Kiambu and decide this is the wrong person for Kiambu? No.
Absolutely.
No.
Brilliant. So, Mheshimiwa, moving the conversation forward then, when you, even as you talk about a truce, what sort of time frame would you be looking at to be able, because so that it doesn't become another war of words over time? We
Actually, now it is becoming a war of words because after the coffee tea meeting, actually it was a coffee meeting. The reason why farmers were agitated is because after we were elected, everybody, including that majority leader, ran away from the farmers. Completely ran away. Nobody has ever given the coffee farmers forum. I have been screaming alone. I have been fighting alone. And you can check all over the media outlets. I've been fighting for the interest of the farmers. Only when my noise has gone to certain levels, the government started what I call knee-jerk reactions strategy. Coming with quick fix promises, PR promises. And that is why the farmers are not happy. So when you see the president running away from such meetings, the deputy president running away from such meetings, because they know they've already created a lot of mess for themselves in terms of promises. When you tell a farmer that you're going to receive 80 shillings, only for you to be given 40, what do you expect that farmer to behave when they meet you, and you're the one who told them that they're going to get 80 shillings? So those are some of the things I'm saying. Let nobody cheat you or shout here that they are being heckled by Wananchi. Wananchi are heckling because they are not happy. And in my vernacular, we normally say, whatever is in your stomach is what makes you look the way you look. If your stomach is empty, people are angry, people are frustrated, they will show it. So you do not deliver the promises you give to the farmers, and not only to the farmers, go to the traders. They will tell you they are not happy. Go to the exporters, importers. Right now, I can tell you, our avocado consolidators and exporters are shutting down. Let me tell you, the next loudest noise you will hear in Kenya from Kiambu will be avocado farmers. Because what they were promised by this government is not what is being delivered. So the noise is not about Wamuchomba. The noise is not about a certain political leader who is inciting the farmers or the traders or the exporters or the importers. It is the economy that is pressing them to that level. So when majority leader comes to your show and tells you, oh, it's because a few leaders had incited farmers, how much power do I have to incite a whole county? I am not even a county leader myself. I'm just an MP. And after all, a woman.
What does women leadership have to do with it? Because that's the next topic. Looking at how
can a small woman like me, because I'm small, of course that's what they've been saying. I'm sure I wish you can understand my language and hear how Kimani addresses me or refers to me. He refers to me like that woman who has no brain, that woman who is not in any way respected by the society. Yeah. So how can that woman...
Does it bother you?
It doesn't bother me at all. Let me tell you, I've taken a lot of political... I am never moved.
Yes, you are. And talk to me about your new, adopted cap or headgear.
It's not really new.
Rather recent. We've seen it, especially towards the end of 2023?
Somehow, I don't know.
Yes.
But I just found like I don't have much time to tend to my hair. Yeah, and when I shave completely, I look funny because I have a small head. So I decided I'm going to make sure that every time my hair is not well made, then I can put something on top. Yeah, so that I can look presentable.
All right.
So it's got nothing. It's nothing. Plus, it's also good for you to just be you. Yeah. So I'm just me.
Okay. Thank you for staying with us. You're watching The Daily Report. We are due for a short commercial break. When we come back, the conversation with Mheshimiwa Gathoni Wamuchomba, MP for Githunguri constituency, continues. Do stay with us. Brilliant. Let's look at, matters women leadership. You, of course, come from the women folk. How are you finding it as a female leader in the National Assembly? It is, of course, it's not your first time there. You are a woman representative, now member of parliament. How are you finding how the country is treating the idea, or rather the issue of women leadership?
I must say it as it is, that the women's space in political arena is very limited. And the available space is very suffocating. We can't breathe. Especially with the KK government, we basically are not breathing.
How come?
Because women in politics have not been given the right opportunities to be in the strategic positions for leadership. And those that have been put there or placed there, they are there because, to me, it's a platform for use. Allow me to tell you this.
Yes.
During campaigns, the president had a special meeting with women, an indoor meeting and a public meeting. The indoor meeting, he promised women, 1, women will be given the first opportunities in his political party, and we were pushing for retention strategy to make sure that we retain the women that were in the previous parliament. So we requested him as our party leader to allow women who are already in parliament not to be subjected to competitive nominations so that we can have as many retained as possible. It's called retention strategy. And he said, good. Came nomination, he changed his mind. And he subjected every woman in his political party for a political party nomination. We lost strong women like Kate Warugoro. We lost the former women rep for Bomet, Joyce. We lost a Maniko of Turkana. We lost women rep for Pokot. We lost another one more. We lost 5 women. His counterpart, Raila Odinga, when he realized that William Ruto is going to give women an opportunity for retention, he also did the same. Raila Odinga was true to his word. He's not my buddy, he's not my political friend, but on that one, he did a very honorable thing. He gave all the women of ODM an opportunity not to be subjected to political party nomination process. He retained Rosa Buyu, Dr. Eve Obara. He retained Emilio Odhiambo. He retained another one called Lillian Gogo. He retained about 6 women because they were not subjected to. So he retained, we lost. Can I sit here and tell you that UDA is friendly to women? I cannot. Because if we were able to get those 5 that lost,
Yes.
plus what we have now, we would have the highest number of women parliamentarian in that National Assembly. We also agreed in our indoor meeting that he's going to make sure he appoints 50-50 into his leadership opportunities. That is in his executive, in the leadership of National Assembly, and in the leadership of parastatals and government agencies. When he became president, he did not fulfill. Do we have 50-50% in his cabinet? Do we have 50-50% in his agencies and parastatals? We don't. We are yet even to achieve what we call the
two-third gender
the two-third gender rule. The principle is not there in parliament, it is not there in his cabinet, it is not there in his parastatals and agencies. Now, in the public arena, he stood and he signed a charter for women. It's called Women Charter. He signed in public, he signed at the glare of your cameras, and it was live on every station. He promised the women the same, 50%, two-thirds gender principle, and he also added that he's going to make sure women who deliver in his government will get supply of Pampers for the first 3 months of delivery. Has he delivered? When President Ruto was elected, there was a plan in place to supply sanitary towels to all our public institutions of learning, that is primary school and secondary school. We used to have that annual supply. Since he was elected, not a single sanitary towel has reached our girls in school. Has he delivered? And you want me to clap and say, oh, KK government is performing. I will not betray myself, and I will not betray my people, and I will not betray the people who believed in me since I started my public life 24 years ago. I am known to speak the truth, to stand for the truth, and to fight for the truth. And that's who I am. I am worried and very worried because I think the presidential advisors are lying to him, telling him that things are fine, things are okay. It is because the economy is not performing. Let me ask you, what has got 500 million only got to do with budget? Yet, when President Ruto was elected, the money for sanitary tiles was already allocated. The money was already there. We are not telling him to start looking for the money. It was already there. They have stopped the process of procurement of sanitary tiles thrice. Thrice. Why? Because they came in and they thought the people who were given the tender to supply sanitary towels were not friendly to the regime. So they have to cancel the tender so that they can advertise the tenders again so that their allies and friends and supporters can get the tenders. They are actually punishing the girls of this country in the name of friends, in the name of supporters, in the name of business interests, and that is called conflict of interest.
You have a picture with him here.
Yeah.
That was, I bet, at the current residence.
Yeah, when he was a deputy president.
When he was deputy president.
Yeah.
Was this when you were joining UDA?
Yes.
When you were joining UDA back then,
Yeah.
did you foresee such a situation that you seem disappointed?
Of course not. Because I wouldn't go to somebody who I already know is not honest, is not true to his words.
Those are quite some harsh words for a president.
I'm saying, sorry. I I am not so sure whether I can blame the president as a person.
Okay.
And it would be unfair for me to do so. Because the presidency is an institution. And I've just said, the people who are advising the president are lying to him and not telling him the truth. Are we together?
Okay.
I wouldn't want to come and say that he lied. Because, he can say something, but it's the work of the people who are implementers, his implementers, to pick up what the president promises. For example, when he comes to my sub-county and says, I'm going to give you these milk coolers. And then 1 year down the line, the milk coolers are not supplied. Who am I supposed to blame? I'm supposed to blame his minister for cooperatives. Minister for agriculture. Minister for treasury. Because they're the ones who are supposed to make sure whatever the chief executive promises is delivered. For example, the president is on record. He's been in my county many times. Gatondo, he promises milk coolers. Githongori, milk coolers. Roiro, milk coolers. Where are they? And he promised them 1 year ago. Would I be wrong to say that we are not concluding that he lied to us? So I want also you media to also separate the issue of issues and persons. If you listen to me, the only person I have attacked as a person is Kimani Ichung'wah. That one I have attacked as a person because I think the problem is not the institution he is holding. The problem is him, his personality, his character, his behavior, his presentation is all wrong. But for the president, I see a scenario where a president means well, but the people who are supposed to deliver his promises are desperately failing him. Yeah.
So the next question is are you still in UDA?
Of course, I am a UDA person and I am very strong. By the way, President knows me. I'm a very, very strong UDA candidate. Very strong. I am strong on the ground. I'm strong in boardrooms. I am strong outside the country. I am strong. I am an advocate of democracy. And UDA is United Democracy Party. And the president knows that he stands for democracy. And that is why he allows us sometimes to even criticize what this government is doing, because that is what the party means. Yes. Do you usually have conversations with him? Have you had a chance to have a conversation with him to raise these issues? Unfortunately, his handlers are insensitive to criticisms. They are insensitive to minor talks. You know minor talks where you say the cup is clean, but it's still smelling soap. That's a minor talk. Yes. So sometimes I see them mistreat us. Some of us who speak the way we speak, we are mistreated, we are mishandled. We are regarded as not the clique that should be around the president. And I'm comfortable with that. You're comfortable? Yes, I am. As long as my Wanjiko is comfortable with me, I'm good. As long as those women, the elderly men that pray for me, that paid my school fees and struggled for me to be where I am, as long as they're happy, I'm good. As long as the Almighty God is happy with me, I'm good. Because when you fight for the poor, when you fight for the voiceless, you are not fighting for yourself, you're fighting for God. So whereas the handlers, I'm sure you also have, during the campaigns previously, you've been able to have a conversation with the president before. It's not about having a conversation with the president. The president did his conversations during campaigns. Have you tried shooting a message like the one you shot to? Not once, not twice. I have spoken to the president about lack of gender commitment, gender parity commitment. I've spoken about the sanitary tile issues. I've spoken to him about coffee issues many times. I have even written him official letters about coffee. Has he responded? Yes, many times. And he has promised to act, and he has acted on some. Yeah, so I'm happy. So are you optimistic that he will act upon the rest? I am very sure. President Ruto, I am sure if he's given an opportunity, he can do wonders. But unfortunately, he may not have the right vehicles to deliver what he means. Okay. Because there are people around him whose business is to identify where to make money from. For example, the issue of sanitary tiles. For heaven's sake, the budget is only 500 million. Why would we have a dragged process for over 1 year? Why would we? Don't we have local manufacturers here who can manufacture for us sanitary towels? We have them. Do we have to go to India to import sanitary towels? No. Do you know those factories are even closing down because they are of lack of business? Yet the government is holding money. Do you know the girls are using funny things as sanitary towels? Do you know how many girls have dropped out of school because of lack of sanitary towels? That makes me sick. That makes me feel like I can burst out. Yeah, when I go to school and get to hear a girl who has not been to school because of sanitary towel issue, I feel, honestly, we are not being fair to ourselves. Yes.
The president is also very keen on matters economy, and you have had quite a strong opinion about the implementation, or rather the programs that have come in. We've seen about the housing fund, the affordable housing program, the social health insurance fund, and other programs that the president is coming up with. What reservations do you have?
I think these are not president's program. They are
National government.
They are Kenya. So I would want us to move our discussion from the president to the government.
Okay.
All right? Because this is more of us as Kenyans. And so when I say this program is not right because it's going to oppress us or punish us, I am speaking on behalf of many who feel that the proposed programs should be taken back to the drawing board for re-strategizing, for reorganizing, because some of them are obviously punitive. I have spoken so much about affordable housing. I've spoken so much about levies on fuel, taxes on fuel and levies on housing. I don't think I want to hammer this point anymore, any longer, because he who has ears has heard me. Not only me, but even Kenyans, when they participated during public participation process. And over 95% of the participants said no to housing. So he who has ears should listen. Yeah.
What about the health insurance fund?
I think if the packaging of the health insurance fund was done in a better way, it would have been the best idea any Kenyan government could have put on the table. Nobody should tell you that we don't feel the pain of people dying in hospitals and getting bankrupt, losing their earthly assets to one sick family member. Nobody will pretend that we don't know that people have been having bodies lie in mortuaries and they cannot be able to access to those bodies to bury them in dignity. Nobody can deny that mothers have not been held in maternity hospitals with their infants because they are not able to pay their maternity bills. Nobody can deny. So whatever President Ruto's government has proposed, if there was no other underhands in businesses, because what is making people uncomfortable, it's the underhands, because there are so many underhands, then I think it would have been a good idea. Allow me to give you another one show to speak about NHIF and the medical packages as one show.
We will come to that.
I do not want to handle this package superficially. I would want to discuss with you in very detailed manner. And we shall invite you, perhaps very soon, to speak about it. Because there is that public participation and all these programs that the ministry is on about. What do you see as a future of Kenya with the current economic situation? We have seen the macros are reporting that Kenya's economy is growing, but we have even had admissions from members or other leaders, national leaders from government saying on matters of economy of the pocket is where they seem to have a problem and there is room for improvement, to quote some words. What's the future? What do you see? When I was a student at the University of Nairobi pursuing my master's program, I learned about the fallacies. And there's one fallacy called the fallacy of ad horrem. Go and research. This is a fallacy that will be given, even when you know surely what you're saying, it's very contradictory of what is the scenario on the reality, but you still give the fallacy. The government of Kenya, the Kenya Kwanza government, is living on fallacy. And the true scenario of the current state of economy is my pocket, is my voters' pocket. It's nothing to do with the graphs we are getting from central bank. It's nothing to do with the projections we are getting from economic advisors, the IMF projections that are all biased to their business model, it's got nothing to do with that. The real true measure of economy is, can I afford to pay my bills? Can I live happily in dignity? And can I afford to take care of my basic needs? That's all. Currently, as we speak, the dollar against the shilling is at the highest loss of 167 against $1. I'm talking about 167 Kenya shillings against $1. This is the highest ever. Can anybody come on this national TV and lie to you that the economy is doing better? What are people who are importing raw materials telling us? What are the manufacturing sector telling us? What are my farmers telling me? So whether you publish in journals or national newspapers, trying to sway people's thinking, the determinant is my wallet and my pocket and my handbag and my M-Pesa. And I can tell you for sure, here in Kiambu County, I counted about 2 days ago, we've lost about 23 manufacturers of different sectors who are closing down, going to Tanzania, Uganda, or closing down for good. Yesterday, I spoke to somebody who is in the business of consolidation of avocados. He's the most popular consolidator in Kiambu County and Murang'a County. People know him, know the company. It has employed hundreds of young boys who come to our farms to pluck the avocado, grade the avocado, wash the avocado, and pack. He called me 2 days ago and he told me, Gathoni, unfortunately, nimelemewa. I am closing down. And I asked him why. He told me, look here, my sister. Before Kenya Kwanza government came, I used to consolidate avocado, put them in containers, take them via ship to my market in Saudi Arabia, Dubai, and Emirates. Currently, the finance bill that you are refusing, because I refused the finance bill, remember?
Yes.
So vehemently, has placed on a situation where we are being forced to ship our avocado through flights, through air, not through water. We were used to paying 0.02 of a dollar per kg of any shipment through water. That is by ship. 0.02 of a dollar. Kenya Kwanza government has come, stopped all the water shipments, and we are being forced to put all our avocado on flights. And per kg, we are being charged 3.337 of a dollar. From 0.02 of a dollar to 3.337 of a dollar. Who will afford? And somebody tells you that things are right or good. Now, what does that mean to that farmer, my neighbor who does avocado in my village? I also am a farmer of avocado. Yes. Because every farmer who does coffee and tea, we normally have places where we put avocado trees. Yeah. So we all have avocados. What does that happen? What happens to that neighbor of mine or my farmer, me as a farmer? If the consolidators don't come to buy my avocado, I'll obviously pluck them, ripen them, take them to the market, sell 30%, 70%, I throw away. In 2-3 months, I have no income. Those boys that were employed to pluck our avocado, they are very many, by the way. There were so many pickups on the road in Kiambu County. Every 10 minutes, you would see a pickup full of avocados. They are no more. One, because we increased levy on fuel. So fuel became very expensive. 2, we have now limited the consolidators from picking our avocado and shipping them. What are we doing? Are we not killing this economy? And you know, when I speak like this, people say, Gathoni criticizes the government. No, I'm real to myself. If you go to the village without me and ask people whether I'm speaking the truth, they will tell you whether I'm speaking the truth. And that is why the farmers will heckle those leaders when they come. Because you are coming to tell them that tuko na mpango. Mpango gani? Na makorofia yangu inaozea kwa shamba. Unaniambia uko na mpango gani when I cannot afford to take my child to that school that I used to take that school because I cannot afford. So the economy right now, the indicator is the dollar. Let us not be baffled here with so many reasons and narratives and graphs and predictions and too much English. What is the value of Kenya shillings against the dollar? Can I tell you? After this interview, if you have a minute, I will take you to some places in Crossroad, River Road. And I will allow you to speak to the people who have been importing some items here in Kenya from outside. They are called importers. They will tell you the impact of the dollar against the free fall of a shilling against the dollar currently in their business. They will tell you. So, I am seeing even a dollar future. I'm seeing a more difficult year, especially the 2024 year, for the business community, for the producers, and for the manufacturers. As we speak, Kiambu County alone, we have lost 4 serious employers. 4 very serious employers. We had an employer that was making some tomato sauce, closed down. We had an employer who was making some pipes, down. So many. We had coffee millers that were employing almost 500 people in the mills, down. We have private schools that have closed down. Very many. Because the parents of Kiambu cannot afford to educate their children in those private schools. So what do? They shut down. Is that a good indicator? No. Can I tell you a story? Last Sunday, after church, I attended church at Ridgeways Baptist. I decided to look for a place where I can do my hair quickly because I was going for a talk show in the evening. From Ridgeways, I went to Ridgeways Mall. I looked for a salon. I didn't find one. A whole mall has no one single salon. Ridgeways Mall. After you leave here, please pass through Ridgeways. There is no single salon. There used to be 6 salons. None. I went up to Seattle Mall, which is just opposite. I looked for a salon. There are normally salons at the 2nd floor in Seattle Mall. I found none. There's one remaining, but it doesn't open on Sunday. I left and I drove all the way from Ridgeways all the way towards Roster through Garden Estate. There were so many salons and barber shops along the road. I toured that place looking for a place I can do my hair. I did not find one. I only ended up near Roasters roundabout. All the way from Ridgeway. I cannot find a good salon, not even a good. Any salon opened Sunday at 2:30 p.m. What does that tell you? Hello?
Hello.
It's not business as usual.
What would be the cure, in your perspective, to eradicate a dollar 2024 to make it look bright?
1, repeal Finance Act. We must repeal if you want to recover. We must loosen some belts that we have put for Kenyans. We must not make IMF our economic advisor because IMF is not our friend. Our IMF is our trader. They are making money out of us. So listening to them, we are actually doing what they want us to do for their own gain, not for our own sake. President Ruto should do what Kibaki did. He should sit down and come up with an economic advisory team. Do you remember was it called the Dream Team?
The Dream Team, yes.
The Sky Team or the Dream Team, I think. Get serious economists, people who are in touch with the ground. Usichukue watu ambao kazi yao ni kuvalia tie, the most expensive tie, with the very many titles. Get people who are on the ground, people who have run cooperative society to tell you what is it that the cooperative societies require for them to get the revamp. He should create a team, and that team should start off from repealing the Finance Act. I know this is not the right language Kenya Kwanza government would want to hear. This is not the right narrative they want to hear. But for us to recover, we must forget about these punitive taxes because they are punitive. You cannot double tax me. You tax me on fuel levy when I fuel my car, and then you put another toll center ya kuchukua pesa ya barabara on Kiambu Road. That is called double punitive taxation. Iliona Murkomen has already suggested that he's going to put toll stations to start collecting road levy. Yet, road levy is already part of the fuel prices. When I buy 1 liter of fuel in Nairobi, in Kiambu, I'm already paying for the road levy. And then you put another toll station somewhere. Come on. That is called double taxation. And it is punishing the people of Kenya. You will not force me to buy a house, yet I'm paying a mortgage. For example, for me, every parliamentary term, I have an opportunity for a mortgage. All right? I may not have that opportunity for mortgage because I really need it, but it's an opportunity for me. Let me not use me as an example. It's a bad example because, of course, we are in the topmost tier of income. Let's go to somebody who is working as a TSC teacher. This TSC teacher, whenever they are employed, the first thing they do, they join their cooperative society. They start remitting money for savings for future housing. So they take a loan and they go to Murera, they go to Watuanyaga, they go to Juja and buy a plot.
Yes.
And immediately they start putting stones together to form a house. Month by month, month by month, month by month. Then you come, this guy is still in the process of putting up a house. You put house levy on his payslip. Assume he abandons that house and decides, wow, I'm going to buy government houses. Then you tell him, abandon your house, come and buy our house. But this house, you have to give us down payment of 400,000 cash. And then you have to give us a monthly payment of 17,000. And house allowance ya huyu mwalimu is 12,000. How will he survive? And by the way, ukimuitisha hizo, tayari ushamkata zingine. That what you have deducted him as house tax, you are not using it as a deposit. You are actually telling him, nimekutoa house tax, lakini nipatie 400,000 deposit as a guarantee for a house. Don't you think that is punitive? It is very punitive. And that is why I said in Parliament, I said Finance Act is punitive, it is oppressive, and it is scandalous. Because this person you're selling to the house you're selling to him, the land belongs to him. All the land that the government is taking to build houses belongs to the people of Kenya. So you take my land, you're not giving me any waiver for taking my land, and you still make business out of my land. And by the way, do you know, I was one of the happiest person when I saw judiciary say no to house tax. That day I was very happy. You know why?
Friday.
You know why? Because for once, the judiciary stood for the truth. For once, the Constitution of Kenya, which we all swore to protect, was defended. Because the government is not in the business of marketing houses and should never be. The government, according to the Constitution, Article 43, 1A, says the government will provide the environment for accessible and affordable housing. Accessible and affordable. But it's nowhere the government is supposed to be selling the houses. That is not a function of a government. So I've seen the government struggling to say, okay, we are not selling houses, but we have a category of a house we are calling market affordable housing. That word market is unconstitutional. The government should come up with social housing, that is a plus, and social housing should be as a platform of houses where the very low cadre earner of this country can walk in and occupy a house. Very low cadre. It should actually be free. The government should construct the houses and give people free. Shika funguo, ingia. Shika funguo, ingia. Because we are all Kenyans. And the Constitution of Kenya is very loud of no discrimination. So when you provide provide a system of houses or a category of houses that are already discriminatory, you are saying if you can't afford 5,000, you have no house. That is discriminatory. So the government should come with what we call social housing and leave it at that. Let the people of Kenya access the houses, afford the houses at no oppressive platform, at no discriminative platform.
So we want to get to the home stretch of this conversation. 2 questions. 1, you have spoken against several issues regarding the country, regarding administration of the country, how programs are being implemented. What is the Kenya that you want? What is the Kenya you envision?
The Kenya I want. The Kenya I want is the Kenya where we have affordable housing that will not discriminate against who earns what, that will put us to the equal platform. The Kenya I want is a Kenya where the Kenya shillings comes down to 100 shillings to the dollar. At least that will ease a lot of pressure that is currently in there. The Kenya I want is a Kenya where the government allows people to criticize it for its program so that we can positively progress, but not muzzle the opposition, not muzzle the voices of reason, and not intimidate those voices of reason. That's the Kenya I want. The Kenya I want is the Kenya that the Moitas of this world, the Anyang' Nyong'o of this world, the Wangari Maathais of this world fought for during the Second Liberation. Freedom of speech, freedom of association must be accommodated. That's the Kenya I want. The Kenya I want is a Kenya where political parties are given room to operate without muzzling the voice leaders of political parties. The Kenya I want is the Kenya where the spirit of cooperatives is reinforced for the farmers to amalgamate and aggregate their products willingly with a liberal market. The Kenya I want is a Kenya where the government is not the marketer of our cash crops. The Kenya I want is where the government provides a platform for people to market their cash crops, but not the government taking the role of marketing cash crops. Every time the government interferes with the marketing or the value chain of a cash crop in Kenya, that cash crop crumbles. A good example. The government micromanage pyrethrum. We are no longer farming pyrethrum in Kenya. We used to have carrots farming in Molo Jolo area. The government came in, it crumbled. The government tries to get into sugar industry, it crumbles. The government has tried to come into coffee industry, we are crumbling. The government has come to try to micromanage avocados, we are crumbling. The government is not the marketer and should never be the marketing agent. The government should be the facilitator and the regulator of value chains, but not one of the stopover of the value chain.
Okay. So
the Kenya I want is the Kenya where the government willingly puts efforts and platforms to stop femicides and domestic violence in this country. The government must be seen to put effort to stop femicides. That's the government I want. The government I want is a government that is not exporting labor, but rather providing domestic opportunities for labor. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. So what are you up to now? I mean, moving forward, we've seen you very fiery. Are your competitive juices flowing for the chance to be, to take on higher positions of leadership? What's in your itinerary?
I have all it takes to take a higher office, but time will tell. For now, my business is to fight for those people who believe in me and do what God wants me to do. I believe I'm on a mission. Yes, I am on a mission.
Which is?
Time will tell.
Time will tell.
Thank you.
Look forward. Thank you so much. That has been Mheshimiwa Gathoni Wamuchomba, the Member of Parliament for Githunguri constituency. My name is George Maringa. Thank you for watching.